Hey folks, happy Friday. If my calendar is right and my math is correct, today is Friday, July 19th, which is a very, very important day in the history of mankind. Why? Because it's my birthday. So if you're listening to this right now and you want to send me a happy birthday note on LinkedIn, I'd appreciate it, to be honest with you, because not that many people like me anymore, and your friendship, even if you're a stranger, really nourishes and feeds my very insecure and lonely soul. No, it is my birthday, and I don't know, I guess that's special, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that we've got the second part of our interview with Chris Rudigrap, which includes Q&A from the audience, and we actually try to name the folks that are asking the questions and give them a little bit of exposure on the pod. So if you're thinking about this format, we'll figure out if it works or not on an extended and sort of scalable basis. But if you're out there in a city and we have a Revenue Collective chapter and you want to host a fireside chat, maybe with the CEO or some important person in your metropolitan area, and you want to be on the show or host it, let me know. Let me know on linkedin.com/the-word-in/Sam F. Jacobs. But today we've got Chris Rudigrap, and he's talking about the origin of founding the company Sendoso. He's the CEO. He used to be an account executive at TalkDesk. And he talks about, as we've heard on the Tuesday show, about the importance of direct sending. What are the objects? What are the creative objects that you can use within the context of a sequence to drive conversion and engagement? And how to think about using direct mail and physical objects in the course of a surprise and delight framework that generates better win rates, more closes, and more business for you. So that's what we're about to listen to today. Happy Friday. If you want to reach out to me again, it's linkedin.com/the-word-in/Sam F. Jacobs. And finally, we want to thank our sponsor for Friday Fundamentals and for our Friday episodes, which is Outreach, the leading sales engagement platform. So thanks for listening, and let's listen to part 2 of our live podcast recording with Chris Rudigrap, the co-founder and CEO of Sendoso. So welcome back to the show, everybody. It's happy Friday. It's not really Friday, but we're playing this on Friday. We've got Chris Rudigrap back to answer some questions from the audience from our fireside chat here in New York City. And we've got a Revenue Collective member, Karen Patani-Hasan, who's going to ask a question. Karen, welcome to the show. And what's your question?
Thank you so much. So my question for you, Chris, is what is the most or some of the most popular items that people like to use and send through Sendoso?
Yeah. So one of the things that's really popular right now is socks. So, nicer dress socks, sometimes branded, sometimes just cool designed. So we have, probably hundreds of thousands of socks in our warehouse from tons of different companies.
Are they good quality, or are they pieces of shit?
No, they're good stuff. There's, I think that socks are something that for whatever reason people just like lose socks and they could always use more socks, and everyone wears them. So socks are really popular. The edible treats, so the mini cupcakes.
California edible, or you mean regular?
Both.
Okay, got it. No. Do you send cannabis products?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. But
put me into that sequence.
Yes.
Just kidding. I run my own business.
Yeah. Hey, in California it's illegal, so.
Exactly.
And then outside of that, Yetis are really popular.
Coolers.
So, yeah,
or
Yeti
water
mugs.
bottles.
Little round little tumblers. I see a ton of those in the warehouse.
What I'm hearing is that I would expect you to say it has to be based on their business, tailored to their business. If they're a real estate company, you send them a mini Empire State Building. But what you're saying is doesn't really matter. It's just something cool, different that they haven't received before.
I think in general, like looking across our entire portfolio of customers, those are some of the popular things that stand out. I think then you tie it to some messaging that really hits at home with that recipient or that target industry. That kind of brings it full circle. In addition to that, though, we do see a ton of companies will create relevant sending options for their target audiences, or the Amazon integration where you're getting hyper targeted with one single thing for that recipient. So that is really effective. But I think there's a place for kind of more general, broad things that kind of meet everyone's interest, and then very specific things that you'd send on a per campaign or a per person basis. And having a breadth of them is helpful.
Cool. Any other questions from the audience? Yeah. Announce yourself.
Okay. Amy Holtzman, SVP of Marketing at AlphaSense. We're customers, but we could be doing a lot more with you.
Yeah.
What is the strangest thing you've ever sent?
Good question. I was actually at your office today too. I didn't even see
What?
you. I was meeting with
She
Brendan.
runs the whole marketing function.
I know, I was meeting with Brendan.
How did this happen?
I don't know.
All right.
But anyway, funny fact. So recently we sent custom pinatas, which I thought were a pretty cool idea, kind of timed around Cinco de Mayo, and we stuffed them all with candy, and so I thought that was kind of unique. Another one of our clients sends a sheet cake, and it has their logo on it, and it says like installing us as a piece of cake. And
that's
we
cool.
literally ship these like quarter sheet cakes, which seems crazy, but they do it all the time. We've also sent these like customized mini Lego figures to match the LinkedIn prospects kind of picture as much as we can. And then we have like a
cool.
Lego builder kit that has a bunch of different pieces. Then you have your own personal thing. So those are some kind of random things that I think come to mind.
Awesome. Thanks.
The Lego. So if these are new items, do you need a partner to source them? Are they like in an online catalog that we can peruse? How does that work?
So we really look at it as we really try to provide more of a curated service than like an online catalog where you can see like 40 different types of pens and 800 different notebooks. Like
Yeah.
no one really wants to do that. So we'll more or less work with our customers. We provide like a creative project manager that will kind of do discovery, saying like, okay, is this top of funnel? Are you trying to set meetings? Is it a welcome kit? Are you trying to do post-customer engagement? So like, what's the scenario? What's the budget? What's the persona you're trying to reach? And then we'll typically suggest like anywhere from like 5 to 20 different things, and then let them kind of decide on that. So it's kind of a collaborative brainstorm that's curated versus a catalog approach, because I think there's just, there's unlimited options. We
Yeah.
could,
And so you pick it and then you put it into the sequence or the cadence or
Yeah,
whatever.
so then
you're
you
using.
we pick it out, and then we have hundreds of preferred merchant partners that will do the manufacturing, whether it's locally, whether it's in China, depending on like the timelines and other factors and the costs. And then we'll get it all manufactured, get it into our facilities, and then,
And it's real time. So I'm an SDR, and touch point number 5 is send them a Lego.
yep,
Just do it.
just do it, click send.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Any other questions? And announce yourself.
How's it going? Matt D, sales manager at Electric AI.
What does Electric AI do, Matt? You've got 30,000 people listening.
Yeah, there you go. We're a full-fledged IT team that lives in Slack. So cost-effective alternative for small, medium-sized businesses, either hiring in-house or
Hold the
outsourcing
microphone
IT
same
to
distance from
traditional
you. No.
providers. Yeah.
Awesome. What's your question?
Cool. So my question is, Chris, you mentioned your inspiration for Sendoso came from being a salesperson and wanting to do a particular thing and realizing that there's probably an easier way to do it. But now at the C-level, 150 people, and the majority of your time being spent doing a lot of other things.
Yes.
What do you, number one, I guess, how important is it to stay connected to that customer experience? And now that you are the CEO, what do you do? How do you still stay connected to that customer experience to understand what matters and what's important as our industry changes literally every single day?
Yeah, so I'm very active with our customers. Today I met like 4 or 5 customers. Tomorrow I'm meeting a few. A couple weeks ago I was in Seattle. So probably once or twice a month I'm in the field talking to customers. Or I also like to tag along and talk to prospects too, who aren't customers yet, to kind of figure out that mentality as well. So I'm still very much connected there. I work with our product team directly too, so I can really influence our product roadmap based on what I'm seeing from the customers. So yeah, I think that good CEOs should really be in the field talking to customers as much as they can, especially if they're trying to influence product roadmap, hiring, who needs to do what, understanding pain points where we should be hiring more based on, whether it's feature requests or whether it's other types of areas. So yeah, to answer your question, I make it a point to leave my office at least twice a month to get on a plane and go somewhere else.
Jason Lemkin makes that recommendation. What are you most excited about on your product roadmap? What are the cool new things that are going to be happening?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. We're rolling out this data product for like an address verification and data offering. So I think that mailing addresses are getting ever increasingly difficult when you're trying to target contacts, not just HQs. So we're doing some interesting stuff there with triangulating and figuring out based on data, as well as a call center solution that's going to be human verifying this. We're rolling out this hobby and interests tool that helps us to identify what the recipient's interests are, and also helps our customers keep track of those kind of gifting preferences, so we can provide better recommendations on things they should send in the future.
Maybe like scraping their LinkedIn profile or.
Yeah, other social tweets, and then taking it further of listening into calls or emails or other data points that we can see kind of gifting keyword preferences. That's really exciting. A scheduling feature is just around the corner, mobile app. Yeah, we've got a long list of features, and but those are kind of the top ones that come to mind.
Great. Questions? Announce yourself, sir.
Aaron Smith. I lead sales partnerships at Content IQ. We're a digital publisher, got about 10 different websites, reach about 40 million unique visitors a month. I'm interested in knowing, what do you want your reps talking about on LinkedIn? Do you want them talking about Sendoso? Do you want them talking about the industry of sales? Do you want them talking about the industry of their target accounts? What would be ideal for you as a CEO?
A fantastic question.
Yeah, I have to think about that for a second.
And the context is Jake Dunlap's out there, our good friend, saying stop talking about yourself and start making yourself an expert in your buyer's industry.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I think that, one is building their own brand. I think there's some value in terms of getting in front of the camera or posting things, questions, kind of seeing how they can develop an audience. So I think outside of just Sendoso themselves and their career, how can they, showcase themselves in a professional manner that can build themselves. I do think talking about Sendoso is helpful, because I think that they have audiences that they can connect with. At the end of the day, they're a salesperson. So if they're posting, a link to meet us at a conference or a cool podcast we're on, then I think that inevitably, drives their business forward, which is, helping them build revenue. I think it's also about interacting. So who are they following? Who are those contacts that they're going out and commenting on posts? So maybe not as much as just going in there and posting something, but going in there and finding people in the industry and providing, relevant, commentary to what other people are saying. I think that's a good way to kind of engage on LinkedIn.
Great.
You were a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you were a great salesperson.
Yeah, I would say.
What do you think makes a great salesperson? And when you're looking at, it's similar to Aaron's question, which is you've got a group of people that you can't influence directly all the time, right? They've got managers and managers of managers.
Yep.
And they're representing you. And when do you love it? When is it that they are the best of Sendoso, and when do you cringe? And what do you think makes a great salesperson?
Yeah, so I think I'd say a couple things. One, I think I'm probably just describing myself, and then we'll just go from there. So
wear sweatshirts.
I think being very good at your tech stack. So I was practically our Salesforce admin. I could run all these reports that some of the other salespersons were like, oh, how do I do this? So I think there's a lot of modern tools that salespeople can use, and being an expert in all those, including Salesforce, where I think some people fall short of how to create really customized reports, or how do you take in Marketo insights and use that and mix that data with other reports to see which contacts you should be going after, this and that. So I think being a good operator of tools. I think being kind of building your own personal brand, so that's going to conferences, going to meetups, talking to people. I think I was a big fan of that. Being in San Francisco, it's a little easier maybe than some markets, but San Francisco the same. You could do a lot of meetups and meet people that way. I was, I think, thinking about our best salespeople, being very fluent in their conversation, thinking that they can, I think there's some sales reps that are, they could sell you anything, but then there's some sales reps that are very consultative. And so I think a mix of both is kind of the key things. I've seen all sides of the spectrum. But I think if you
think too consultative might be an issue.
I think too consultative is an issue, because you can maybe be boring, versus the other side of the spectrum. If you're just you can talk, sell anyone anything, you might miss some valuable discovery that really is painting the picture of what that pain point you're trying to solve for. So somewhere in the middle is going to be key. I think hard work, there's nothing like getting in early to the office and working your butt off. So, I was get in the office at, before most people would.
What's a good time to get in the office?
I like to get into the office like 7:30 because you'd get like an hour or so before that kind of got noisy. And then you could, duck out a little early to get some golf in too. So that wasn't always bad.
It's tougher in San Francisco because your 7:30 is our 10:30.
Yeah.
And that business is already happening on the East Coast.
Very
so,
true.
To your point.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Feel free.
Hi, I'm Alex Clark. I'm the head of sales for a company called Adroit Trading Technologies. We're a front-to-back order execution management system that deals with the nuances of over-the-counter exotic financial instruments.
Great.
Quick question for you, Chris, just in terms of, if I think of the top of the funnel, do you find that a lot of companies are sending out thought leadership along with their, I don't want to call them knickknacks because there's a lot of thought that goes into these gifts, but is thought leadership, infographics, books, is that something you're sending a lot, or is it more, should I be sending cupcakes?
I would say both actually work really well. I would say swag though is less top of funnel. Like you want to build a bit of rapport with the prospect before you send them like a jacket with your logo on it.
Sure.
Unless you're like, I don't know, like the Googles of the world who just like, you just love their brand or one of those, Fortune, 50. So I would say that the thought leadership though is really useful. I think that also that thought leadership though also does really well with kind of what I call deal acceleration, which is you've done the demo, you've got this weird period of like, call it 1 month to 6 months before they're signing the contract, depending on what business you're in. And typically you're just like, following up on email cadences or, calendar invites that are sitting out there. And so I think that's the best place to sprinkle in some of that thought leadership where you're getting on their desk, and that can help influence, the buying committee and things like that.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, to Alex's question, the first touch point should not be direct mail, in your opinion.
No, I disagree. I think it can be definitely.
Okay.
And we see a lot of our customers that will have it. I think the biggest thing that you should focus on is the sequence of events. So if you're going to do it first, then you just need to make sure that you're following up with that and you're bringing that back in. So it's, hey, did you get the cool, Stanford coffee mug I sent you that was blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, do you want the code to that lockbox? So you're like tying it in to your messaging. I think that maybe where it falls short is where marketing will just do a blast of direct mail without kind of sales alignment. And then there's kind of like spraying and praying direct mail will get responses, which I think is less useful. So I think we do have a good amount of our customers that will start off with a direct mail and follow up with that. We also have some that use at the very end who might be a bit more, cost conscious and wanting to do some free emails first and then drop it in. But it all depends. I mean, if you look at opportunity costs and we have some customers, Gong is one of them in particular, that did some analysis, and it's like they've shortened their sequences down because of putting it at the top of the sequence, and that made a big difference than waiting till 10, 15th step to do the direct mail because you want to, save some money.
Yeah.
So.
Is there a worst practice? Is there, if there are companies that are not using Sendoso the right way, are there common themes there?
I think the spraying and praying where you don't have good follow-up and someone just gets something on their desk and then no one follows up is a terrible practice. I think, shitty quality or poor
You can
quality.
swear.
I can
It's
swear?
okay. Yeah, of course.
I would have been swearing so much more. Trying to behave. Yeah, I think shitty quality is like, or things that aren't useful. I think you really got to think of quality over quantity. And I think some people just say, hey, I need to do some quick direct mail. Let me do this and that. And then it, doesn't come together right because it's a lot of effort trying to do it yourself and then just kind of flops. There's bad data too. What's worse than sending it to the wrong place, the wrong HQ, sending it to someone that left 3 months ago. You can look bad by doing things like that. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
One last question. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lori Coulombe, Senior Director of Marketing at NASDAQ on the corporate
Lori.
services side. So my question's on the onboarding and retention side.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're looking to create a new program for one of our business lines, what do you recommend for the cadence of sending gifts? Is it like within 2 weeks, then 3 months, then 6 months or a year? Like, is there a certain number of times you should be welcoming your new clients to the business?
Great question. So I would kind of think of it more of like either product milestones, milestones that you can look at data to say like, if you add 10 users, then that kind of cohort is X likely more to renew or to stay on for X number of years. So looking at kind of data points, it would be like success measures. I think those would be a better answer because I think each different business has slightly different needs in terms of how fast the onboarding. I think there's a definite need is like a welcome and then like a completion of onboarding, like a graduation kind of when that's applicable, like when there's an implementation and onboarding situation. I think that's a nice handoff. And then I think it's useful to have these like lifestyle events kind of queued up, whether it's like a baby onesie that's branded or a doggy chew toy or
a baby onesie at their 1 year anniversary with your business or when they have a baby?
More like for when they have a baby and you can just have that on deck so that you look like a hero sending them some funny onesie that's, I mean, maybe it's not even something that's branded or maybe it's just small branded but has something like relevant to, you know, your brand that's more funny. And so I think those type of things really resonate with customers where you hit them at times where they're already kind of having happy moments and thinking through what all those could be, those 5 to 10, and then just arming the warehouse with that so that you can click and send in real time and they get it like the next day.
Great,
So.
thank you.
Chris, thanks so much for being here. If people want to reach out to you either in the audience or online, it's chris@sendoso.com.
Yep.
So we want to thank Sendoso, we want to thank Outreach, who's one of our sponsors, and of course we also want to thank Russell Tobin. So Russell Tobin, if you're out there listening or you're in this room, they're one of the great search firms here in New York and all over the country/world. And they are also hosting us in this incredible event space and they're very generous partners. So thanks to Russell Tobin, thanks to Sendoso, thanks to Outreach, and thanks to all of you for coming. If you want to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn, so linkedin.com/the word in/Sam F. Jacobs. And we'll talk to you next time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.